Last year, when the lockdown was announced in different countries at different times all over the world, everywhere people were behaving the same way. Most middle class people started raiding grocery stores and purchasing whatever they could lay their hands on. People were no longer buying in retail or wholesale quantities. Everybody was purchasing in flood relief quantities. They behaved as if at any moment the WHO will call and ask them, you have to feed an entire African village. And we were ready to feed 10 villages. I'm not just complaining about others, I was doing the exact same thing. When the lockdown was announced here, I went to the neighborhood supermarket and bought whatever I could. Even those brands which I never used to touch previously. You know those brands at the bottom of the aisle and you wonder, who buys these brands? You buy these brands in a crisis. I stacked my kitchen floor to ceiling with all kinds of processed and packaged food. Now this was extremely confusing for all the insects, bugs, mites that live in our kitchens. I could sense they were happy and worried at the same time. They were happy with the abundance of food, but they were worried for their kids who were suddenly growing up with a lot of food all around. They were telling their kids, something happened in China, that's why these humans are stocking up on food. This is not how life is going to be all the time. Enjoy it while it lasts, but you have to study hard and work harder. Everybody was stocking up on such huge quantities of food because we had no clue how long this is going to last. Our knowledge only comes from Hollywood movies, so everybody was literally preparing for some kind of apocalypse. We totally underestimated the ability of our farmers, shopkeepers, supply chain people, factory workers, administration, and everybody who keeps the food chain running. Because in most places there were some shortages for a short while, but after that groceries kept flowing quite freely. Everybody had enough groceries to try out every single recipe from MasterChef. And also we totally underestimated the ability and power of our doctors, scientists, chemists and pharmacists who all got together, worked day and night and came up with these vaccines. And most importantly, we totally underestimated the ability of these strong, powerful, daring, gutsy guys who during the peak of the pandemic went out without masks or gloves or hand sanitizer and did their best to spread corona far and wide and bring about some level of herd immunity. Thanks to all these people, we are seeing the potential end of the tunnel of this corona year. But my problem with all this is that I have not even exhausted half of the food stuff I purchased last year. And right now, most of the processed food is close to its expiry date. Most of them are nearing its best before dates. Every day we are in a race against the vaccine, trying to finish off all the stocks of food before life becomes completely normal. Every day we are not cooking what we want to eat. We are cooking whatever is close to expiry. Yesterday I ate milk made with masala dosa. And even without this entire pressure of corona, it is not easy to understand that best before date. Even at normal times, you go to a grocery store, the packaged food is in a very brightly lit aisle. And there, the packaging is very beautiful. It has big fonts, nice bright colors. But the best before date will be printed on the side using a dot matrix printer sourced from the USSR. And if you're lucky, you will get an actual date. Usually they will be written as best before 12 months from manufacture, 18 months from manufacture, 24 months from manufacture. And now you have to go on a separate treasure hunt for that manufacturing date, which will be put in another corner of the package, usually under the fold of that seal. And you have to carefully hold it under ultraviolet rays and you will get a date. And then you have to go back and calculate it with the number of months. Now my brain doesn't have that kind of computing power. So I figured out a simpler technique. I take the manufacturing date and put it into astrology calculator as a birth date. And if the result comes out that this person has a long life, I'll buy it. If it says this person has a short life, I don't buy it. It's a very simple technique. You all can use it. You can thank me later. But with this entire confusion about best before date, I was wondering who came up with this best before date? And I googled around and I was shocked to learn that this was not invented by some consumer activist or manufacturing company or a government agency. This best before date was brought about by Al Capone. Al Capone was one of the biggest mafia bosses of all time. He was the godfather of all godfathers in the United States, 1920s Prohibition era Chicago. According to legend, what has happened is that this was a time when milk was delivered to homes in Chicago in bottles, glass bottles. And one day, milk delivered to Al Capone's house was apparently spoiled. So I'm assuming the women of Al Capone's household must have complained to him. I'm assuming this because I don't think in 1920 Chicago, Al Capone was every day checking milk bottles. He had bigger things to do, like St. Valentine's Day massacre. So when Al Capone heard the complaint, he sent word out to all milk manufacturers in Chicago that from now on you're going to put a best before date on all your bottles. And in case the milk goes spoiled before that date, you're going to hear from me. Now this was orders from Al Capone. So from next day, everybody started implementing it. Not just milk manufacturers and not just in Chicago. Every manufacturer, everywhere in the world. Because that is the power of Al Capone. When I heard this story, I was extremely amused because I knew in India, the women would never have complained if the milk was spoiled. If the milk was spoiled, they would have made something else out of it. Paneer, rasmalai, rasgulla. Indians have 287 recipes just in case the milk is spoiled. Our moms take it as a challenge. What is so great about making something with fresh milk? Give me a spoiled milk, I'll show you what I can do with it. Even Subway can make something with fresh produce. Our mom's ability is taking the most rotten food and still making something amazingly tasty out of it. My mom is also like that. But my mom doesn't even believe in the entire best before date concept. She thinks it's an American conspiracy. I used to laugh at her, but now after reading this Al Capone story, I believe maybe she is true. It's partly an American conspiracy. If I tell my mom this Maggie packet is near expiry, she said, don't worry, I'll extend its shelf life by putting some turmeric on it. My mom can extend the shelf life of anything by putting some turmeric on it. She extends the shelf life of turmeric by putting more turmeric on it. Once she extended the shelf life of chocolate Complan by putting turmeric on it. But on one side of people are people like my mom, who may be risking their health by eating stuff which is well past its best before date. On the other extreme are modern yuppie moms who are hypochondriacs. If they can even see the best before date on their table calendar, they will immediately throw it away. They will not even touch it. They will use a pliers and throw it away. Then they will have guilt pangs. What if some beggar or street dog eats it? So they will open the packet, put some turmeric on it so that nobody will touch it. What is happening world over is that because of the confusion whether to eat or not eat this best before date, a lot of people are throwing away very edible stuff. Apparently 20% of food stuff world over is wasted because of the confusion over best before dates. I think, at least in the 21st century, we should solve this problem. Maybe we can create some smart packaging, inspired like the banana. You know, the banana skin is so smart. It changes its color based on the edibleness of the fruit inside. Maybe you can have smart packaging which will change its color based on the edibleness of the food inside. But of course, right now, everybody is using chemicals on fruits and vegetables that you can't really trust its skin anymore. Recently, I bit into a shiny apple, but it was completely rotten inside. Forget keeping the doctor away, the apple itself called the doctor. I mean the Apple phone. Sorry, bad joke. My appeal to all future mafia bosses who are growing up inspired by Narcos and Breaking Bad, please take some inspiration from your original predecessor, Mr. Al Capone, and solve this best before confusion. Hollywood companies may make big blockbusters about drug-running themes or extortion rackets, but a sit-down comedy episode can be made from this best before concept. I hope you enjoyed watching my sit-down comedy videos. I'll be taking a short break for a few weeks on this and come back with hopefully more entertaining episodes. Till then, you can watch me doing live stand-up on Zoom. The ticket link is in the description. Till then, stay safe. My name is Saikiran.